Scarlet Knights fans, ladies and gentlemen, the Scarlet Knights barely escape a really epic, what would have been an epic upset against Stonehill. Rutgers pulls it off 59-58 on a Derek Simpson three-pointer. The Knights were shooting terribly from beyond the arc all night and all day. And towards the end, in the home stretch there, both teams were really cold around the rim. Both teams were cold in a lot of ways. And Rutgers was still just hoisting up threes. Finally, one of them goes in, and Rutgers avoids an epic defeat. Which, first of all, congratulations to Stonehill. I know you didn't win, but you played your hearts out. And you came into hostile territory and really did it. Now, the territory is not the same as it's been the last couple of years because, you can just tell that the feelings and sentiments around the program this year. And before I say this, look, whenever I get critical of the staff or the program, people think I'm calling for, us to move on from Pike or calling him into question overall as a coach. I'm not doing that at all right? Pike's the coach. Pike is getting an amazing recruiting class next year. He's done great things at this school. He's the right guy for the job, but look, that doesn't make you completely immune from criticism. I know we won this game, but that doesn't mean we have to rest on our laurels and be happy about this. It doesn't improve our resume. The only thing it does is save our resume from being completely sunken if we had lost this game. So there's nothing to really pat yourselves on the back about. I mean, you had Gavin Griffiths, no points. You had Derek Simpson, I think he had 14 or 17 points. Cliff, I think 17 points. Mag had a good amount of rebounds. You had no JaMychal Davis. That's always going to hurt you. I think JaMychal has really taken the helm now over Simpson as that guy in the backcourt, and he wasn't in today. You could tell that hurt us a lot, but we shouldn't be relying on just one player, whether it's Mag, whether it's Davis, whoever it is. And the fact is we are. And I think it's interesting when you watch a game like this. You see a team like Stonehill, and they're not the first team that's done this to us, not only this year but in previous years, but it's become more evident this year given the makeup of the team and the roster and what we're kind of dealing with in a transitionary year. But these other programs are coming in here. They're running nice offensive sets. They're running things to get guys open. They're running things to get good looks from the right players. And they're capitalizing. And a lot of times it looks like they're out hustling us. They're out fighting us on the boards. And it's ridiculously evident. A player like Cliff Amori comes back this year, and aside from a game or two, I don't know if Cliff's playing through injury. I don't know what it is, but he's kind of been underwhelming this year. And that's not an indictment on him as a person or a young man, but as a player, it's been tough. I don't know what's going on with Cliff. Same thing with Derek Simpson, the end of last year. I think what happened with this season, and I think it bears some criticism, and especially going into next year where expectations are going to be so high. Steve Peichel made a decision, especially with, I think, and I don't know this for a fact, but this is my approximation, and feel free to correct me if you know more than I do. This is just me kind of using, deductive reasoning to figure this out. It seems like Steve Peichel said, look, we're going to have the type of recruit, the caliber of recruit coming in here that wants to run the floor, wants to go out and score big, has natural talent to score, natural offensive ability. So we're going to kind of change the philosophy of this program and try to run the floor, press a lot, get fast break points, get transition points much more, be more of a shooting team that can catch you in transition off balance and hit threes and hit shots at opportune times. And, based on other reporting from other people, that, at least in speculation, is what initially led Paul Mulcahy to want to leave, because he might not have been an integral starter or part of this team if they were going to change offensive philosophies and be more of that shooting, running team. Now, Paul had other issues. Paul wasn't very good the end of last year. I still have a lot of respect and love for Paul, but he wasn't great at the end of last year. His on-court antics, like with the trip, weren't great. So there might have been other factors that went into that. But if that was any part of it, it's interesting because I think we could have benefited a lot from a bigger guard like Paul and running, more of the pick and roll stuff and better passes for the alley-oops for Cliff, and even a high post game and, getting to the hoop and getting to the rim. A guy like Paul was able to kind of put the team on his back in that way and play in the post when we needed it most. No rhyme intended there. And you don't have him. And then Cam Spencer really was a mercenary. He waited until the least opportune time for us, till his value was high and jetted, and, sought a better opportunity that he thought for himself. So, you can't count on a guy like Cam Spencer, who was really a mercenary to begin with. So I'm not putting it all on Pike because he loses these key players, without a lot of time to plug those holes. But the reason I bring this up is if he's thinking, and if we're thinking as a program, that we're just going to go into next year because you have a guy like Ace Bailey, you have Lathan Somerville, who looks great. He looks like he's got better moves, putting the ball on the floor and getting to the rim than Cliff does, and than Miles had, so it might be the first big man with those kind of skills and talent. You have a guy like Dylan Harper coming in. You have JaMychal Davis already here. You have Gavin Griffiths all the way here. But by the way, Gavin Griffiths, no points, and he struggled. And I think, you can't go into next year. You can't go into next year just thinking, well, we have all of these guys who are naturally offensively talented, so we're going to play tough defense and we're going to try to just wing it and beat them in transition and just outscore them and out-talent them. I hope that this staff and this program is not going into next year with that mentality, because these guys, all or some of these guys, could be one-and-done guys. So you've got a small window. I know you have a good recruits coming in after them, et cetera, but all the hype about these kids coming in, if they're only here for 1 year, you're not guaranteed any kind of deep NCAA play, tournament run, because you could lose any game at any time. And if these guys are coming in as freshmen and Gavin Griffiths and JaMychal Davis are going to be sophomores, you can't just rely on, we're going to try to get them to get up to speed on the defensive end and let just the offensive talent run the floor and score points, because it seems like even guys like Gavin Griffiths, who came in known as prolific shooters in high school, prolific shooters in practice, prolific shooters in some games, less than half, but some games, they seem to regress almost when they get to Rutgers. They can't shoot all of a sudden. And I don't know if it's an offensive scheme. I don't know if it's lack of emphasis. I don't know, because I'm not in the practice facility. And I'm sure this coaching staff does everything possible to try to get them to the highest level they can play. But you can't just rely on that scoring prowess naturally translating without any effort from the high school level to now and think you're just going to be a good team because you're going to all of a sudden be a fast team and an offensively better team. It hasn't worked this season. I know the talent is vastly different, but I hope that next season you're realizing you've got to run better offensive sets. You've got to find a philosophy that allows your best shooters and best playmakers, whether it's at the rim, whether it's shooting, whether it's putting the ball on the floor, best ways to create shots for them and create opportunities for them, and to be able to adjust, because these teams that have less talent than you, are outplaying, out-hustling, and out-scheming you on a game-by-game basis. And that is what Rutgers used to do to superior teams when Pike first started here. We would out-fundamental them. We would play better defense. We would out-hustle them on the boards. We would out-hustle them on defense. And then we would out-hustle them on offense. And our offense has never been great under Pike. But at least we had some semblance of finding a guy to get the ball open and just out-hustling guys. And when we've been at our best, as is the case with every basketball team that I've ever played on, that I've ever seen, that all of you have ever seen, the best basketball teams swarm you. They move the ball proficiently. They move the ball, efficiently, and they find the right shots and they get opportunities. And I don't care how talented you are, and I don't care how big you are, I don't care how fast you are, I don't care how well you shoot when there's no one guarding you. If you can't play schematically better than the team you're going against, and if you can't out-hustle the other team, you're going to be in trouble. So I just hope, going forward into next year, that this program makes sure there is some semblance of a game plan for how to use all these talented pieces they have. Gavin Griffiths is a freshman. I'm not worried about him. He's a freshman. He's got to adjust. But it is a little worrisome that he hasn't made as much of an impact as you would think he would, and he hasn't been able to be as much of an offensive weapon as you think he would able to be. And you got to wonder if that has something to do with the way this staff is going about this team. So, again, I can't put it all on them. You had some rough defections late. You had Paul gone. You had Cam leave. Noah Fernandez plays his heart out, but he's a little undersized, I think. And he's going against other teams that aren't, as big as Big Ten teams, but he's still, he's been okay in some games, and he's kind of been invisible in other games. Derek Simpson, you didn't think he was going to really kind of regress the way he has. Still a talented player. He won this game. Congrats to Derek Simpson, by the way. I mean, it sounds like I'm talking like we lost, and we didn't. It's just I'm trying to be objective on this channel and discuss the real analytics and what's going on. And I don't mean analytics in a statistical sense. I mean just more analytically looking at the game. So I'm trying to just discuss what we're all thinking about rather than just saying, rah, rah, what a great game. But look, congratulations to Rutgers. You're going to have scares. Teams get upset all the time. You avoid an upset. Good for the Knights. I'm proud of our guys for fighting their way through that. Good for Simpson hitting that winning shot. But, the Simpson that we saw ascend last year has not become the Simpson that we thought we would get in his sophomore year. Cliff is not the dominant force we thought we would be. So I can't put this all on the coaching staff or, the philosophy of the program because talent-wise we haven't really panned out as we thought. At the same time, you have to wonder, it's a chicken or the egg argument. How much of this is guys just on a raw talent and hustle basis not doing what they're supposed to do, and how much of this is on the staff not getting them motivated, not putting them in positions to succeed. The season's not lost. The resume is okay. It's not great. It's not terrible. The Big Ten isn't going to provide a lot of opportunity to have a good resume, so you've got to have a winning record in conference, which I think is going to be an uphill climb for this team this year. I'm not thinking about tournament right now. I'm not thinking about the NCAAs. I'm not thinking about that. And it doesn't mean I'm saying we have no chance. I'm just not thinking about it. I'm thinking about trying to see this team play much better and be some semblance of a team that's cohesive. And I haven't really seen it but for one or two games this whole season. We've been waiting to see it coalesce, and it hasn't really come to fruition. And then I'm thinking one more step ahead, and I'm thinking to next season. And I'm wondering, is this going to be the philosophy going into next year where we think it's just this discombobulated mess once again, even with all the talent? And if that's the case, it might be a wasted opportunity. We better really have a philosophy of how we're going to utilize these talented pieces in a very intelligent scheme that's going to allow us to go toe-to-toe with big programs to have a real chance at a real run. Otherwise, it's a waste, So I haven't loved what I've seen this year on any level. And it's starting to get a little bit concerning in terms of, philosophical questions with how we're going to structure this team going forward and what we're doing this year, why we brought certain pieces in, even if we kind of got blindsided by the makeup of the team, why we aren't finding better ways to put them in better positions to succeed, why they seem at times to be kind of winded and not keeping up with some of the teams we're playing. And it's concerning. It's concerning. So glad Rutgers avoids an epic upset, which one game after the Pinstripe Bowl victory, which had great headlines all over the place for the school, for the athletic program, would have really been bad to have negative headlines, like the, negative headlines 2 days later would have been terrible. So glad we avoided it. Congrats to the kids for gutting out, getting blindsided and really punched in the mouth by a hungry program in Stonehill. Congrats to Derek Simpson for being clutch in that last second, even though he struggled a lot of the game. He did have decent amount of points, though, so how much can you really knock him? You can't. I hope they do better. I hope they enjoy their new year. Congrats to them for winning, but it was a tough watch, and it's been tough this year. Guys, if you haven't done so yet, if you enjoy this content, despite me having my wet talk here coming at the camera lens, sorry about that, click subscribe. We're trying to get to 500 subscribers, but if we can get to 400 by the new year, that would be awesome. 400 subscribers by the new year would set us off on the right foot. If you've lurked, if you've watched at all, whether you love me or you hate me, throw me some support. Hit that subscribe button. It's right here. Let's get to 400 for the new year. If you love Rutgers, hit subscribe. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will talk to you all very soon. We're going to do a season recap on football and, kind of a Big Ten and Rutgers recap on football very soon. And I'm looking forward to it. Talk to you guys later. Larry K. out.